deep in the heart of Central Texas, it's the Best of the Outdoors podcast, brought to you by Texas Fish and Game Magazine, the voice of the Texas outdoor nation. I'm your humble host, Dustin Von Warnke, author, outdoor writer, videographer, speaker, blogger, podcaster, and man, am I excited that you've taken the opportunity to download this show or stream it online, however you're listening. Thank you so much for doing so. Well, man, I'm back and better than ever, man. Absolutely fired up about the outdoors, as I always am. And just happy to deliver a show to you of hope and inspiration and the outdoor lifestyle and all the great things that the outdoors give us in return for our time in the outdoors. And really excited about this. Just came back from the Buras Marsh Media Bash event, which is a kind of writers event I talked about in the last podcast. And it's for media people, and it's put on by a guy by the name of Ray Stansberry. He's an incredible guy. Love the guy, and he's got a real good heart for the outdoors and doing media events and that kind of stuff. And this was just no exception. This was incredible. We were there with a bunch of other companies, a bunch of other writers, and really had a great opportunity there. And I wanted to kind of dedicate this podcast to some of the brands that I experienced there that helped me be successful in the outdoors, and in turn, I think will help you be successful in the outdoors if you consider using them on your next outdoor adventures. And I've got to say, this was 3 days of fishing, 5-day event. Well, 2 days were travel days, so Wednesday night was a travel day, and we had dinner that night, and then Sunday morning was a travel day. We had breakfast that morning, but the 3 days in between, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of this event here in August were just mind-blowing. I mean, we got out the first day. I was with the vice president of sales and the owner of PowerPole, JL Marine Systems, and those guys are just incredible to hang out with. They're very competitive. They're good buddies, and Robert and John are just a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed being on the boat with them and having fun with those guys. But we got into the marsh the first day and got back into some ponds, as they call them, some marsh areas deep into the framework there of the Louisiana marsh, and really got into some bass, some largemouth bass, and some redfish, smaller redfish. And the funny thing with Louisiana is their laws are a little bit more liberal than Texas are with game stuff and with fish stuff as well. Especially in the case of largemouth bass. There's no size limit on largemouth bass, and I look back at the rules, and that rule changed in about 2013. And there's different, reasons why that's the case. There's certainly a lot of largemouth bass, and also if the fresh water gets taken over in that brackish water of the salinity gets too much for the largemouth bass, it'll kill them all, and they don't really stand much of a chance in that salinity of that water. So basically, this was a opportunity to catch up a lot of different largemouth bass, catch up on redfish, and just really catch up on some fishing that I haven't done in a long time. And I get out on the boat quite a bit. Last time on a guide trip was back in June. I was with my son Jackson, and we went out with Roy Simmons with Gone Fishing Guide Service and had an absolute blast catching white bass and hybrid stripers. But this was a little bit different because I was with the PowerPole guys, and we got to experience all their equipment. They have obviously the shallow water anchors that everybody that owns a boat is familiar with, or anybody that's looking to buy a boat are familiar with. Obviously, they mount on the back part of the boat, or for the micros and the smaller power poles, they mount on the side of the boat near the front. But basically, they deploy. They're like these big arms that deploy down into the water and anchor your boat in shallow water underneath 12 feet for the most part. Within, they're really good to securely anchor the boat. And they work so flawlessly because you can control them with a remote that you can wear around like in a lanyard around your neck. You can control them from the boat console. As soon as you get on fish, you can hit the button and deploy your anchors. I mean, the technology behind these things is great. And they have a system to control the anchors from your cell phone now called the Sea Monster. And that thing is just amazingly, with all the new PowerPole products, amazingly accurate at picking up a wireless connection, and I believe it's their Bluetooth that they use, and have your boat, anchored on a moment's notice, or less than a moment's notice, really. In just a few seconds, you hit the button and it anchors your boat. And so those are great. I mean, there's all kinds of different models of the power poles around, different price ranges, but I got to really experience how they worked and why I like them, because they anchor you on good fishing if you hit into a hot spot. And we talk about that a lot with the Texas Fishing Game audience, is hot spots. Once you get into the fish, you want to anchor right there and keep the catch on. And these can anchor up to, like I say, 12 foot of water, and much shallower than that. We got into some skinny water that first day too. We really did. We're throwing a Z-Man's minnows, and then a couple of other Z-Man baits that we had, soft plastics that were rigged weedless, and caught some bass on that. And John and Robert caught some redfish. Our guy was Cody, and he did a fantastic job for us. And really can't say enough about that day. It was just a lot of fun being with those two guys and with Cody, our guide, and really fished hard and fished all day. And I haven't fished all day in a while. I mean, I'm pretty hardcore, but I typically will fish for 3 or 4 hours at a time, and then around lunchtime or mid-afternoon take the rest of the day off. But we were out there from about 7 in the morning to about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so we really gave it a good try and had a lot of fun doing that. So basically, the other thing I wanted to mention about JL Marine Systems, who owns PowerPole, or who is PowerPole, they have 2 other systems that the Sea Monster, which I just talked about, is being a control for your boat and for your anchor. And if you have a PowerPole, it can wirelessly connect to your cell phone, and you can use the app to control the anchor. It's really cool. The other thing they have is the Vision system, and that is basically an Android tablet that is mounted on your dashboard, on your console, and it basically controls everything that you would normally have switches to flip for, hardwired, switches. Basically, this does everything digitally, and it's hardwired into your boat. And they have another system called the Charge system, the Charge Marine Power Station. And basically what it does is it's a battery management system that goes through and takes all the different components of your boat and basically manages the power to get you through the day until you can get a charge on your batteries, so you can get a battery charger hooked up. It basically manages and switches the power in between your different batteries to do exactly what you want it to do, and keeping your boat running throughout the day, keeping your trolling motor run off of a battery that has more charge to it, so on and so forth. Really innovative stuff. Never been done before. And the Vision was so cool because it has a bright screen. You can see it with your sunglasses, and it connects to your smartphone just like any other tablet would, basically through a hotspot on your smartphone. So the neat thing about that is that it would basically connect to your smartphone, but if you were in an area like we were, like in Venice, Louisiana, which we were down in kind of the sticks, if you want to call it that, where the cell reception wasn't that good, you can download your maps while you have a good signal on your Vision, and basically, once you go off the grid and off the cell service or data service, whatever you want to call it, you will have the option to it will cache all your maps and everything like that, and not need the internet at that point, so you can see where you're going. It's just really neat stuff. Really important to have out on the water, especially if you use your electronics to fish, like I do a lot. Having a control panel that is also an Android tablet is never been done before. It's very diverse in what it can do. It even has a built-in camera, so you can take pictures of your catch and upload them on Facebook, Instagram, Google+, Twitter, wherever you are. You can download thousands of different apps on your Vision system, and it comes at a pretty good price too, to do all of that. So, but even if you use an iPhone like I do, to do certain things on the water, you can usually get a app that is comparable to it on the Android platform that you can use and have it loaded in your boat. It's really next level technology. So there's Charge, there's Sea Monster, and there's the Vision. And then obviously there's power poles, and then the micro power pole for kayaks or mount on the side of your boat, and so on and so forth. Just really cool stuff from JL Marine Systems and the power pole folks. So I got to experience that on day 1. Day 2, I went out with Captain Jay and Jay Harris. So 2 Jays, 1 boat, and 1 Dustin. Jay Harris with Mustad hooks, and Mustad is a very unique brand. They've got a lot of different hooks. They've been around. They're the longest running and largest hook company. They've been around since the late 1800s, 1877 to be exact. And they make some really awesome hooks. I mean, it's hard to explain if you're not really heavy into fishing how good the Mustad hooks are, but the technology that they use when they draw the steel to make the wire of the hook is like a patented technology that they make all different sizes of hooks and all different wire densities and so on and so forth, but they use a long draw process is what it's called. And instead of a short draw that a lot of other hook companies make their hooks with. And so, just watching how their hooks are made and just talking to Jay and Reed, they're the marketing and sales guys for the company. So it's really neat to get. I got their whole catalog. Planning on getting some of their hooks for my article that I have in 2018 on angling for carp instead of bow fishing for them. So they have one hook that you basically can mount a hard ball on, and I'll talk about that in another podcast. That the fish actually suck down into their throat and crush or try to crush. They call them boilie rigs, and that's just some really neat stuff. I mean, I'm really excited about what the different variety of hooks that they come out with. The ones I'm holding in my hand right now are called they're Ultra Point, and they're the weighted grip hooks. 1/8 ounce 4/0 is the size that we were using on the boat on Monday. I believe it was 3/0 or 4/0, I'm not sure, but they have kind of the weight of the hook, the mass of the weight of the hook in the kind of the belly of the hook, if you will. So you've got the, where it basically has a grip on it, where it holds onto your soft plastic, your worm, your minnows, whatever the case may be. Your soft plastic, and basically it holds on. It's got kind of a indention in it that holds on to your soft plastic, and then you go down a little bit on the hook, and before it turns around, to where you get your point of the hook, you basically have a little lead belly, if you will, weight embedded in the hook, and it's really cool. It really works well, especially for rigging things weedless, and especially for the case of rigging things, that you want all the weight you don't want in the jig head of the hook. This basically puts the weight inside the hook itself. So it's very effective for fishing worms. It's very effective for fishing weedless, like we were doing, weedless minnows, Z-Man minnows, and just really cool. I didn't know such a thing existed, really, and I've been fishing for quite a while, but I never really encountered hooks like these before. But they're called the weighted grip Ultra Points from Mustad. So had a lot of fun fishing with this, and you'll find Mustad on a lot of different baits you may not even know have Mustad hooks. They certainly are outsourced to a lot of different companies there, but getting to know Reed and Jay from Mustad was just incredible. They were great guys to fish with, and just full of knowledge. They even make giant shark hooks at Mustad, and hooks for souvenirs and that kind of stuff. I think the biggest one that makes like a 27/0, and O-Search, which we've talked about before, in their connection with Costa. Uses those hooks to fish with on, or some of the bigger shark hooks that they make to fish with for great white sharks. And so that's just cool. I mean, they make hooks of all different shapes and sizes and do it the old school way. They've been making hooks in the Norway area for a long time, like I say, since 1877, and can't say enough about Mustad hooks. Really, really good stuff. So, also, I talked a little bit about Z-Man. They are the inventors of the chatterbait, right? And chatterbaits are basically like an inline spinnerbait that you just throw out and retrieve. And the last day we were at this event, we caught a gar. I didn't actually hook up with one, but it was like a 3.5, 4 foot alligator gar. And I've got photos of this. I'll see if I can put them in the show notes if there's room. But otherwise, it was just about a 3.5, 4 inch alligator gar that ate a chatterbait. And we hooked into it. The guide actually hooked into it that day, Johnny. And he just had a blast fighting that thing and bringing it in and everything. And it was interesting getting that out of his mouth, because that's just a mouth full of teeth, kind of like a shark's mouth, You got to be careful when you go towards it so you don't tear up your hand. But, those chatterbaits, we were catching catfish on chatterbaits. We were catching catfish on spinnerbaits. We were catching catfish on swim baits. That was just weird. I mean, just normally stuff you don't catch saltwater catfish like hardheads and gaff top on. We were catching them on all kinds of different lures, so that was really neat. But Z-Man makes a great chatterbait. They're a lot of fun to fish with. They're easy. They're especially great for kids that are just learning how to chunk and wind basic bait. And chatterbaits are very effective in freshwater and saltwater both. We were catching redfish on chatterbaits during some of this event. And so Z-Man makes a great chatterbait. They're soft plastics. I want to talk about this real quick. I don't know about you, but I've fished with a lot of soft plastics over the years. And, you have the issue of the fish biting the tail off of them. You've got the issue of the fish, eating them and swallowing them whole. You've got the fish, all kinds of different things. They break on you. They can deform on you. They can just do all kinds of different crazy things, especially in the heat that we have here in Texas. That's a big thing. So basically what their product is, what Z-Man has, is what's called a Elaztech, ELAZTECH. Plastic products, and what's really unique about them is they can take a licking and keep on ticking. They're kind of like a Timex watch, They basically are they make these in minnow, shrimp, all kinds of different swim baits, all kinds of different things like that. And basically just incredible elasticity, incredible durability for the most part. I've never seen a product that durable before in the soft plastics market, and so I really think that's a good note to make as far as you getting a bag of plastics or swim baits or whatever the case may be, and you want to have it last. You want it to last the year, last the fishing season, whatever the case may be. You can do that with the Z-Man. You can't necessarily do that with a lot of other brands, but Z-Man has the technology to really make their lures and their swim baits and their soft plastics last longer. And that's a very important, factor when you're out there fishing on a budget like many of us are. So that's a good consideration. But also, speaking of lures, Live Target Lures was there. I really can't say enough about the style of lures that they make is so realistic you almost think that it's the real thing. I mean, it will fool a person almost, to think that's a real fish with a hook coming out of the top of it. They make realistic shrimp that actually have the antenna all the way up to the finest detail of the shrimp. Is just incredible. I've got a picture on my Instagram page, Dustin's Projects, at Dustin's Projects, you can check out, that has some of the lures that I had from the Z-Man, from Live Target and from Z-Man. It was just really, really innovative stuff, really durable plastic for Live Target lures, and just the realistic, features of their lures was just amazing. They make one of the best mullet I've seen on the market. There are a lot of different companies that make mullets or, baits that imitate a mullet. They make a really, really good mullet, and then a wide variety of menhaden, bait balls, all kinds of different other baits that you can throw. But the shrimp really blew me away because they even had the antenna, of the shrimp. They even had the realistic face, head of a shrimp, the realistic tail. I mean, the realistic way that it swims. And Jay Harris on our boat the second day, which is the most successful day we had on this, which is a Friday of the event. He was throwing a Live Target topwater and getting incredible blow-ups. And if you've never seen a redfish blow up on a topwater, I mean, it will make your heart sink. It is so exciting. I mean, it makes your heart jump a little bit, I guess is what I should say. It's just absolutely an amazing feeling to see that water boil around and a fish just slam a topwater like that. And that was what Jay was doing. And he caught more on his Live Target topwater than just about any of them and any of the baits that he threw. And the cool thing about that is that Jay also talked about the realism of Live Target baits and how realistic they look on Final Approach technology, like Chester Moore talked about in one of our previous shows. But I was really impressed at the realism that they have in water. I really thought there was a struggling bait fish during some of my retrieves when I was looking at what Jay was throwing. I really thought, oh, look, there's a dead mullet, or there's a dead, topwater. There's a dead fish floating on the top of the water. And it was really one of their lures. I mean, it just looked that realistic where it freaked me out a couple of times. I was like, look, there's a fish. Oh, that's just a Live Target lure. So I've really got a lot to say about. They put a box together for us, and Z-Man put a bag together of baits for us. And I can't wait to use more of their baits and get some more pictures and get some more opportunities there with their baits, because they really make a realistic swim bait and plastic lures and hard lures and all the different things that they offer is really amazing. So Live Target Lures, you can find them online. Z-Man Lures, you can find them online. Mustad Hooks, you can find those online. You can find those just about anywhere. And then obviously Power Poles carried a lot of the different dealers. So there's that. Also, I was there with 13 Fishing. I fished with the Green Fate rod and the Omen rod. Those were two of the rods that we had featured at the event. They rigged up reels and everything for us as well. They made the first bearingless baitcaster rod that I've ever seen. First time it's ever been done. They use bushings instead of bearings, and so really smooth casting baitcaster. I'm not a big baitcaster fan because I still get backlashes, which a lot of us still do, I guess, that have even fished for a while. But I cast their baitcaster by the pool a few times at our lodge, and I was really amazed at how smooth that bearingless baitcaster came out with. They blew through tens of thousands of these on the initial order, and they have a bunch more ordered on order now. But it was such a resounding success at iCast and the other shows that they did that it was basically a reorder kind of thing was going to be bigger than their initial order because it took off, that fast. So really excited for them. So 13 Fishing they've been around for about 5 years, incredibly fast growing rod and reel company. They make baitcasters and spinning reels. They make fantastic fishing rods. I mean, I was lobbing baits out there further than I've ever lobbed baits out there before with their 7 foot 1 inch and 7 foot 6 inch rods and all kinds of different, like I said, varieties and availabilities you have of the different rods. You can buy a lot of the 13 Fishing stuff here in our Academy stores, right here in Central Texas where I'm at, or any part of Texas that you're at, and it's just an amazing amount of fishing gear. I mean, it's just a really great rod and reel combination, and their rod series is just absolutely incredible. I mean, I've fished a lot of different rods in my life, as you probably have as you have fished out there, and I've got to say I'm impressed. I've got the Fate Green that I fished with, and as well as the Omen Green. All those rods are just absolutely incredible. Saltwater, freshwater rods, for your inshore, for your bay fishing, for your freshwater fishing is just incredible. The number 13fishing.com, and I'm going to put all these links of all these companies in the show notes so you'll have it to refer back to, so you don't have to take a bunch of notes while you're driving or you're at the gym or whatever the case may be. You can always refer back to the show notes. And 13 Fishing's logo, I love it. It's called Make Your Own Luck. So I love the Make Your Own Luck logo that they come up with. They drove their truck down from across from Florida to Louisiana, and I had about a 12-hour drive back, I think, and I had about a 9.5-hour drive back, but I made it in good time, and really had a good time fishing with them on the last day of our event. So also wanted to mention Skeeter Boats. I'm not sure how many people that listen to the podcast are in the market for a new boat, but they've got some really, really nice boats in the bay boat saltwater category. Especially, obviously, they're known well for their freshwater boats. Kevin Polston was there, and he he's one of the Texas reps and handles some of the southeast part of the United States, and really did a good job explaining all the different features and benefits for the Skeeter boats. They've got all kinds of different options you can get on them. T-tops, a bathroom, kind of a makeshift porta potty kind of thing that tucks away when it's not in use. The Skeeter definitely makes a really cool bay boat. I fish on the SX 240 and I think one similar to that, and then we fished on a Blue Wave while I was there. But the Skeeter boats really, I've not known them, and a lot of listeners may not know them as really being big into the saltwater bay boat, center console boat. A lot of people know them as bass boats, that are your traditional bass boats like a Ranger or a Triton or Phoenix or any of those other kind of boats, bass boats. But they make a really good center console boat. It's not the least expensive thing you're going to buy out there, but it is very high quality made. I got to fish on those a couple of days of our event and really enjoyed those Skeeter boats. So I wanted to give out a big shout out to those guys. And then I wanted to give a big shout out to Hook, spelled H-U-K, Performance Fishing. If you've been fishing for any amount of time, if you've been shopping at Academy or any other sporting goods store, you've probably run into the Hook gear. H-U-K is the way Hook is spelled, and they really have done well, and I've paid attention to them, but I just never really gave them tons of thinking, and considerations before this event, because I've got a lot of other outdoor wear that I use, for hunting and fishing and that kind of stuff. But wearing their shirts during this event, they have a camo pattern that they've got on a white shirt and a kind of a darker gray black shirt. And you would think wearing those shirts in the sun, especially the darker black gray shirts, would attract a lot of heat. And that really wasn't the case at all. I mean, I was really impressed by the breathability, I guess that's a word, the breathable, material that the Hook shirts are made of. They're long sleeve performance fishing shirts, so you're used to that in a performance fishing t-shirt. Them being long sleeve, protect you from the sun, high SPF rating, so on and so forth in that regard. They really kept the sun off of me, but also they were very comfortable to wear. Even the darker colors were comfortable to wear. Even since the event, I've worn a lot of the different Hook shirts, and they're some of the most comfortable shirts I've worn. I mean, they're not the cheapest shirt you're going to find, but I really, really recommend Hook performance gear. They make board shorts, which I'm wearing a pair right now. They make those in several different designs and patterns, and they're Velcro. They're very comfortable to wear. I've been wearing mine nonstop. Obviously not the same one, but I've been kind of switching off and wearing different ones of the board shorts that I have from them, and really impressed by the quality of their clothing. I mean, the stitching and everything is there. The wearability, as far as longevity and your clothes lasting a long time, was really there. And they even make shoes now, which they don't make a size 15. And guess what, folks? I'm 6'5". I have big feet. And the guy that invented the shoe, he's a size 13, so they made up to a size 13 and quit. So anyway, I just thought that was funny. But they definitely make, sizes probably that you wear. I mean, I know I'm kind of a rare beast because I wear such large shoes, but I wear a 14 or a 15 in a tennis shoe. But their shoes are made of single material. They're made of a real breathable material that are comfortable to wear, dry as they can be. It's a breathable shoe. I mean, it's a really high quality product, and will definitely last you a lot longer than a lot of the other shoes in the market. Just looking at because I'm hard on my stuff, guys. I don't know if y'all realize that, but I mean, Chester Moore and myself are really hard on the gear that we use. My tennis shoes usually don't last but a year, if not even that. My dress shoes last a little bit longer because I keep them shined up and looking good and everything. But, as far as performance shoes for running or outdoor lifestyle stuff, hunting, fishing, camping, that kind of stuff, I mean, you really want something you're going to spend the money on once and it's going to last you for many years. And this line of shoes from Hook is just a really high quality line. I want to recommend that you go check those guys out. So you can check out Hook Performance Fishing. They have a whole line of different clothes. Like I say, board shorts, performance fishing t-shirts, shoes. They make even the net gaiters that we use. I've got a couple of pictures of me with the Texas net gaiter that I have from another company, and then a camo net gaiter that I have from another company, and then their net gaiter, which is like a light blue, perfect for fishing. I mean, perfect especially for saltwater. And it's a very high quality net gaiter. And so they make a lot of other products that are fishing related, and really are a cool brand in the fishing market. I was really impressed with their presentation at our event and just the different things that you can get there. So really enjoyed my time at this event. And like I said, our favorite day, our best day, we were running into bull reds on popping corks, and really had a good time using Z-Man plastics for the popping corks, and using just regular general popping corks you use for redfish. The one thing I wanted to make a note of is if you're into saltwater fishing inshore for redfish, especially bull reds, because that's why I named this podcast The Running of the Bulls. The bull reds were really running hard. And I think I caught 7 that were between 36 to 40 inches, and I mean heavy fish. the considered bull reds, the second day that we were there, the second full day that we had fishing. And I was with Jay Harris from Mustad, like I said earlier, and we got into him hard. Jay was hitting him with the plastic, with the topwater bait, and I was hitting him with a popping cork. And the thing with popping corks and redfish is you've really got to be loud and aggressive with that popping cork. And I had a couple of cases where the fish just slammed that bait under that cork because he got mad at hearing that cork pop. And that's the one thing that I started off doing, that I haven't fished a popping cork a ton in saltwater, but the guide was telling me, look, you're kind of just giving them a wet noodle out there. You got to really pop that thing and really be aggressive with that popping cork. Pop it often, pop it hard, and really get that fish's attention. And man, did I get that fish's attention. I mean, it was wild. And so I caught about 7 back-to-back redfish bull reds that fought like a freight train. And it's like getting hooked into a diesel. It's incredible. It's an incredible feeling reeling one of those in. We don't keep the big ones because they don't taste as good as the smaller ones do, and also they're the matriarchs and patriarchs that make everything that we do in fishing a fishery like Louisiana a possibility. Is letting those big ones go and let them breed and make other big ones. And really, really fun fishing with those guys. I really had an overall fun time. But the main reason why I want to do this podcast around this event is talk about the different sponsors of the event. And like I say, Live Target, Mustad Hooks, Z-Man Lures, Skeeter Boats, Hook Fishing Apparel, Performance Fishing Apparel. Really incredible companies. These were all PowerPole, obviously, JL Marine, PowerPole. I was invited by PowerPole, and I wanted to give them the first shout out, which I did earlier in the podcast. But the basic concept of everything that was going on in this event was just having fun in the outdoors. It was very accessible fun. It wasn't a lot of crazy hard work to get on the fish. We had good guides, and I always try to tip my guides. I don't know what your policy is on that, but I always try to tip 15 to 20%, even if it's an event like this where the guides were part of the event. I try to do that and try to set that example for other folks to tip your guides. But I just had so much fun with these guys. I mean, it's just like you showed up as strangers and you left as friends. It was an event like that. But I got to learn about so much more, and I got a lot of editorial ideas in the writing work that I do with Texas Fish and Game, and I plan to continue to have a lot of that stuff out there in the digital realm as well as the print realm. Working on a story right now for JL Marine for PowerPole. And, I've got some other stuff on got a lot of good pictures there as well. So I've got a lot of may have some cover shots. You never know. So I took Chester Moore's camera, because he's got a fancier camera than I do, and took a lot of pictures while I was there. So it was a lot of fun. But I say all this just simply to say, the outdoors does not have to be inaccessible. The outdoors does not have to be too expensive to participate in. I mean, 13 Fishing makes really affordable fishing rods. Z-Man makes really affordable and durable lures and swim baits and soft plastics. Live Target makes incredibly diverse and very nice, very realistic artificial baits and swim baits and shrimp and JL Marine makes an incredible product. I mean, all the sponsors that were there were just some of the best in the industry that I wanted to bring to you, because my whole goal in this show is to bring you the best of the outdoors. My whole goal is to show you how accessible and affordable that hunting and fishing can be, and getting out there and enjoying your time in the outdoors, and obviously educating you the best I can, not to be a quote-unquote shill or a product guy or anything like that. That's certainly not where I'm at on the editorial side of things. I don't just take product, for people and just, write editorial or do whatever because they send it to me for free. I got out of that habit years ago, when I was writing my books and all the different things that I was doing in the outdoors, and kind of went through a transformation where I really have to be impressed and really have it proved to be a effective, an effective product to get my attention. And these products here at this event, the Buras Marsh Media Bash, I should say, were just incredible. I mean, I really had a good time there, and really using these products and showcasing them to you is what I wanted to do today, and just give you some ideas of going out next time you go to the store, next time you shop online, of ordering some Z-Man baits or some mustad hooks or some live target lures, because I really think they're some of the best in the industry at what they do. And they're not necessarily the cheapest you're going to find. I mean, you can go find soft plastics from China really cheap. You can go find rods and reels from, the across the sea, fairly inexpensively, or just get a Walmart special. Nothing against that. But to really get out, and fish hard and fish the way that you want to fish with quality products, and you definitely want to fish with something like something that's going to catch you fish, obviously, or else you're just wasting your time. And like I said, 13 Fishing, Mustad, Live Target, Z-Man, I mean, all that stuff worked together to make our trip very successful. So I want to definitely throw that out there and give you guys some ideas of some things. And then Hook Performance Clothing kept the sun off of us. Skeeter Boats got us where we needed to go. I mean, really overall, everything worked together to make a successful trip, and that's what it takes a lot of times in the gear that you buy and the stuff that you equip yourself with. You want it to last the lifetime. You want it to perform well for you in the outdoors and not fail you. And like I said, the products that I fished with during this Buras Marsh Media Bash event were just absolutely incredible. So I also wanted to give a good shout out to Cajun Fishing Adventures, our lodge that we stayed at. I've stayed at a lot of different fishing and hunting lodges and accommodations, whatever you want to call them, places that you stay while you're on a hunting and fishing trip. And I've got to say, this was one of the nicest places that I've stayed, as far as there's a room, there's 2 to 3 people per room. In some cases you could probably, get larger rooms, but the room that I stayed in would sleep 3, and it had its own bathroom. And I thought that was really, nice, with a shower and everything like that. So you had your privacy. It was just an overall great adventure. The food that we had there at Cajun Fishing Adventures is really good. They did meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They sent us with lunch on the way. So we would have that on the boat, and sent us with sandwiches every day. And then prior to that, they fed us breakfast, and then after that, they fed us dinner. So food was second to none. I mean, it's really good Cajun style food, and really, really impressive stuff. And like I say, I stayed in a lot of places, a lot of different lodges and stuff like that over the years that I slept in, and for hunting and fishing adventures, this was definitely one of the nicest resorts or lodges, whatever you want to call it, that I stayed at. So definitely wanted to give a shout out. Hope you enjoyed listening. Want to thank you so much again for tuning into the show. Those of you guys that listen every other week, every 2 weeks when we release these podcasts, I can't thank you enough for hanging in there with me over the years. Wanted to absolutely mention to you our newsletters. If you're not subscribed to those newsletters, you should be. What are you thinking? I'm just kidding. Texas Fishing Games Tactical Tuesday, which comes out every Tuesday, obviously. Wildlife Wednesday comes out every Wednesday, and the Texas State of the Outdoor Nation comes out every Thursday. So we have Tuesday through Thursday newsletters full of a lot of stuff. Our mailing list is around 41,000 people that we send those to, and we'd love for you to join and get our special promotions that we do from time to time, and get our newsletter. It's kind of like getting a mini magazine. I've said that before on the show, and really enjoyed that. And my whole goal for all that I do in the outdoors is just to educate you, is just to bring you in on more of the exciting things that I see in the outdoors, and that are things that are accessible, to you. Like I said earlier, I really, really want to bring home the fact that these kind of pursuits that we do in the outdoors, you don't have to have a really expensive boat to go fishing. You can go on the bank, you can go hire a guide, you can go with a friend, who has a boat. There's a lot of different ways you can get into the outdoors without spending a ton of money, and that's the kind of outdoors, fun that I like to advocate, is getting out there, getting your kids in the outdoors, getting folks that have not hunted or fished in their lives and did not grow up around it, because a lot of times if you didn't grow up around it, you never will get into it. Just reach across the aisle and teach somebody, how to hunt and fish and enjoy the outdoors. And that's what I'm all about, teaching you on this show. So thank you so much again for watching. Thank you so much for reading. Thank you so much for listening, and have an awesome day in the outdoors.